welcome to Crossbar, the podcast where we discuss interesting topics with alternative perspectives. I'm your co-host Big O, and I have with me.
Hey, Tanae is back in the building one more time with the legendary Danny Thomas from the group Con Funk Shun, the musician, the songwriter, the multi-instrumentalist. Give it up for Mr. Thomas, y'all. Give it up, give it up, give it up.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Welcome to
I
Cross
appreciate
Bars.
you.
Welcome.
Right, all right. Now, I was a little taken back, and I know because when I was listening to the music, you gave me a lot of light skin energy. You like sounded like a lot of Howard Hughes. I was just telling them that because back in the day, listen, I was like, is that Howard Hughes? That's Dan. But then because y'all came out around the same time, I don't know who. I said, he could have been his style. You know what I mean? And then did that because listen, we both know that during the 80s, the light skin, that was the epitome of light skin power. They had a whole plethora of guys and everything, and thank God Wesley and Denzel did something so us brown skinned brothers could actually live a little bit.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so first and foremost, let's go in some chronological order in here. Where are you originally from, sir?
Vallejo, California. That's in Northern California.
Vallejo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa. You from the Bay? Oh, junk E40.
Yeah. Southside.
Oh, God. I had no idea you was from the Bay. All right. Listen, if I'm out there, I'm going to definitely call you up because, I just, in a low, I'm a food truck connoisseur, but I'm not because I can't eat half the stuff. I like looking at the food that I can't eat.
There you go.
What I mean? Yeah, absolutely. So Vallejo, California. So now, how did you come? No. Let's go in order. All right. So in elementary school, coming up, what type of child were you?
I was a good kid. I was a blessed, naughty kid. I was born with common sense. My father left the house. He got kicked out, bless his heart, when I was in the 4th grade. And my mother told me that you're the man of the house now. And I'm looking, I didn't know what was happening. I mean, it was kind of abrupt. Okay. But I was blessed to go to private schools. I had good teachers. At that time, we had just moved into a new house and I was going to public school for the first year. My father was cocky saying that we were going to lose the house and everything, so I needed 2 payments. But my mother was blessed. She kept doing what we were doing, and God blessed us to make money from. This is the honest to God truth. My uncle is a jockey, and we used to go in the Bay Area to Hollywood Park, not Hollywood Park, but Golden Gate Park. And my brother was a rodeo. He rode Brahma Bull, so we was in that fair circuit. And so she betted for the first time, bet the horses. And every time she would bet, she would win.
What? So your mom was a hustler, your dad? Okay.
My church going mother, okay, everything. But my auntie came and visited. They had their dream numbers. And then they would write them down. They'd go to the track and play them, and they would come in. And even I had a horse. I'd never forget his name was Madman.
Madman.
And every time I played him, he won.
Okay.
And I would just go to the fair, buy me some popcorn. They didn't have to worry about me. Okay. Yeah. And then, but that went on for a year. And the bill got caught up and everything. And my mother said, well, I don't really need to go to track now because everything is cool. And she went one more time and lost. First time she lost, she said, well, that's it. She ain't coming no more.
That's it.
That's how that gambling do.
See, I was listening to you, and you see my eyes like, all right now, because in my understanding, you can't make the music you make having a nice, good upbringing. I think that to make some music, you got to go through some turmoil. And it's like some of the best artists went through some crazy stuff. So you kind of said some things straight, like, yeah, my mama was gambling to get back. I was like, oh, okay, see, that sounds a little bit more like it. I think that sounds,
Oh, yeah, we went through some stuff. I mean, God, anything worth having doesn't come easy. Okay, but I consider myself blessed. I was born with spiritual parents, put me in school at 5 years old. Actually, before that, playing piano, only because I had a sister that when she was 16, Rose Scholar at Fitzjubilee College, played behind the Fitzjubilee Singers. I was 3, acting like I was on the coffee table, acting like I was playing piano, which, I don't even remember that. So they said, maybe you have it too. And I actually did because I had to practice, and I remember back in the day, during the 3rd, 4th grade, 6th grade, I was in the field practicing playing baseball and stuff. I had to come in and practice. Okay. And the kids would tease me and stuff. I would say, forget y'all, man. I gotta do what I gotta do because my sole purpose was make my parents happy, especially my mother. Okay.
Right.
I know if I made her happy, she would come through for me. Okay. So it's just I had that kind of sense. Okay. So I didn't want to let her down. So I stuck with it, but for years, and I really wasn't into it. I was just going through the motion. But one day, I changed my style of music. I was doing mostly classical music, classically playing and stuff. So I started doing more popular music, buying books. And one day I came home and I just had this music in my spirit. I must have practiced for like 2 or 3 hours. So usually I'm on the clock. A certain time I got to come and practice. And as soon as that clock is over, I'm out of there, right? But this time I played for about 4 hours straight, and my parents would check on me. I said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing good." And I started liking music at a certain time. And then my sister that I mentioned earlier, she happened to come through because after she graduated, she moved to the Bay Area and she taught school in Oakland school district for 30 years until she retired.
Wow.
But she was just passing through. And I'm at this time in high school looking at this manual, trying to figure out where I want to be in life. Okay. Study a little bit of business law and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't see myself in the office, 8 hours a day or something like that. So and so she walked in, as she came and picked up her bell, she said, "Well, you've been doing music all your life. Why don't you devote yourself to music?" And then walked out the door, just like that. And I just did
that. That's what your mom said.
No, his sister. No, his sister said that.
Oh, his sister said that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my mom wanted me to be a good old church pianist and stuff like that, But I was able to do that. I played for my family was members of the Cows Temple in Vallejo. And my whole family was about the church. Had one uncle had 11 kids, my other uncle had 13 kids. And then my whole church, there was almost the whole church. Right?
That's the church. The usher board, you got the security, you got the
and so I was a shoe-in. They were, and until we went on the road and stuff like that. So I always had a strong spiritual connection. Like our first road trip could have ended before it even got started. When we decided to work with the Soul Children and move to Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Right.
We used to drive to LA and all that sort of thing, come back.
Hold on for a second, because you going so quick, and we gotta hit some pause in there because I have some questions.
Oh, my bad.
You was about to run away. I was like,
I was all in too.
Like a little double dutch in there. Like, can I get in there? All right, so now.
Yeah, slow me up so I get going.
All right, okay, so I wanted to touch on your sister went to Fisk, HBCU.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now
Wonderful.
I always wear different HBCUs. Just
for sure. I see you.
Yeah. I'm like, let it be known, I'm an Aggie now.
All right,
North Carolina A&T State University. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. But I represent all of them. I show all of them love. However, so she went to Fisk from California. I know California does not have historically black colleges. Were you interested in going to college versus just pursuing music because your big sister would be somewhat a role model, and if she was a scholar, at such a young age?
No, like I said, she was the musical genius. Okay.
Okay.
She came out playing at 5 years old for church and all that kind of stuff. She was just out there. And I love her for it. But, like I was a music major, okay, and all the guys in the group, we all was in the same classes and stuff, but it was a hobby, it was just for fun. We I was in high school, 10th grade of high school. I wanted to put together a band because I set up a band with my family about a year prior. We put my parents hired us for our first gig. It was a Christmas party.
How old were you?
I was in 15.
So you 15, about sophomore, freshman in high school, and your parents hired you to do a gig for them.
I was in junior high school. Yes.
Oh,
I was in ninth grade. I started taking piano lessons at 5.
yeah.
So I was doing recitals every year and stuff like that, doing Mozart and stuff like that. That was boring, but I did it because that's what you did, And
right.
but when I started, but one year I had a cousin that played drums, and I spent time over there. We'd be jamming. So our parents got together and said, "Why don't you guys perform for our Christmas party?"
Okay.
And we'll pay you.
Yeah.
And we said, okay. So me and my cousin, and we put some of those together, and we practiced and had some songs together and everything. And we did the party, and everybody had fun. They liked it, they loved it, and we got paid. And I said, wow.
Wait a minute.
We had this much fun. I can get paid for this.
Wait a minute. But how many people were in the group? Because you just told me you and your cousin. So we got the piano and the drums. What else you had?
We had piano, drum, bass player, a couple of vocalists.
Who are those people?
Y'all had a fool.
That was your old cousins, friends?
Yeah.
Okay. So
and we funked them. And everything. So I said, wow. So my parents, my family, my cousin wasn't serious, But I said, well, that's all right. I'm going to keep practicing. When I get in high school, I'll find some serious musicians. That's exactly what I said to myself. Didn't worry about it. So the second day of high school, I'm in the piano room playing, just jamming. I had some free time. And Mike Cooper stuck his head in the door and said, "Oh, man, that's sharp. How you do that?" And I showed him, and he said, "Well, you want to start a band?" I said, "Yeah." And boom, that was the start of it. He introduced me to
that was the start of it. And Mike Cooper is the one who helped form the band, right? Is it Mike Cooper?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. So now you basically got the remnants of a band together, second day of high school. But my next question is, did you venture over to Oakland? Because Vallejo is a city in itself, in its own. However, it seems like Oakland at that time, because you're around, you're talking about the early 70s, right? Or late 60s.
Oh, yes, sir. We grew Oakland. Oakland was stepping ground. We had to conquer Oakland. Vallejo's a country town. But that's home. That's home. Oakland, San Francisco, before it was over with, we made our mark in Northern California and Southern California and the world. We conquered the world.
Craig, the world.
Okay.
The world.
Yeah, now,
international, baby.
You don't have to prove nothing to me because like I told you, coming in the joint, I was a huge fan. So now that you have some people that's like-minded and they were really into music like you were, because you were very passionate at an early age and your family was well known to be musicians. Tell me let me word this right. What were some of the influences during your time period? Because your time period in the 70s influenced the world, but who did you play? Because you had to practice, and who did you want to play? Because I know you wasn't playing on Mozart for a whole bunch of people in your family. So who did you practice? Like, it's like, oh, I want to be like them, or we gonna sing like these people. Who were those influences?
Well, the first album I bought was Jimmy Smith.
Okay.
And
you gotta teach now. You gotta teach, because we don't know. Everybody don't know about that Jimmy Smith now. I can't be the one because you're the legend.
But Jimmy Smith was the premier organ player. B3 had an organ player back in the day.
B3.
Okay.
Wow.
And along with him came Jack McDuff and a few others, and then Ramsey Lewis on keyboard, He was they were great influence on my life, especially in the early days. Okay, and like I said, 10th grade of high school and before, and we would play songs, popular songs, and I try to play them as close to the record as possible. That's one reason why we got a reputation as Project Soul cover band. Because people would come here and they say we sound like the record.
Yep.
Cause we put time in and rehearse, like every other day or so, and
wait, Project Soul. What was that Project Soul?
Project Soul was in high school.
Okay, that's the name of the band.
Yeah, that's the original band. Right. Project Soul. We started out as a 4-piece rhythm section.
Got you.
Wow.
And we started out playing. Sorry.
Go ahead. So Project Soul, didn't you guys go sing behind the Soul Children or something like that? And that's how you got connected with that. And that's who, I think Isaac Hayes or something that formed that band. So did you work with Isaac Hayes at all with them, or you just knew?
Well, we opened up. We was on the same. See, we both were signed. We actually didn't sign with Stax Records, but we was Rufus Thomas. It was like a guardian angel. I mean, he was really impressed. He came to the Bay Area, and one of the local groups called the Uptights, Marvin Norman Uptights, was supposed to back him up at this telethon. I think it was like 20,000 people there and all that. And our manager was a promo person for Stax Records. So when any people come from Stax Records perform, we had backstage passes, VOPs, all kind of stuff, right? So we just happened to be at this event backstage, just happened to have our truck with all our equipment and stuff in it, because that's just how we roll. We wasn't supposed to be on the show, but we just took our stuff just in case. And so,
of course.
So we backstage, and Rufus Thomas came in on a helicopter about 5 minutes before he was supposed to come on stage. And so he walked on stage, and the band that was supposed to back him up said, "What you want us to play?" And he said, "Funky Chicken, of course." And they said, "We don't know no Funky Chicken." And somebody in our group said, "We know it. That's our favorite song. We play it every week." And he said, "Come on." And so we literally, I took a step behind his keyboard. Louis got on the drums. The horn player ran to the truck, got their horns and guitars, came back out. All this happened in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
And
right place, right time,
the song off, and we hit that introduction, da-da-da-da, just like the record. Okay, so that's what we try to do. And kind of blew his mind. But he did the song, he jammed, we funked him, and then he left in the helicopter just like he came, and we were just standing there dumbfounded. Like we couldn't believe we just played behind Rufus Thomas and a packed out 20,000-seater outdoor concert.
That's what's up.
And so we didn't think too much more about it. And then about a year later, the Soul Children came to town. That's another group.
Who was the Soul Children?
The Soul Children. Now that's a 2 male, 2 female vocal group. And they put out songs like The Sweeter He Is, and Don't Take My Kindness for Weakness. That was their big hit. The Sweeter He Is. They had a guy called Blackfoot that was premier lead singer, Norman West. They had these 2 women. I can't think of their name, but they were both bad. And they had this flat harmony. And it was a pleasure to be affiliated with them because they came to perform. And so, but we learned the whole show in 24 hours. And then when they came, because our promo man said, "You don't need to bring no band. We got a band. We got the baddest band in Northern California." So we get the word that we're going to back up the Soul Children. So we practiced all. They did bring a drummer.
Okay.
And I mean, this is one of the better. Memphis has always been known for their drummer and drums and horns and just great musicians, period. But he was like a music director. Okay, so we picked up all these songs, and a lot of it was them just singing the melody and the bass, like play it like the bum 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 bum. But we had these guys, the 2 guys, and this drummer singing to us, telling us how these songs go, and we picking them up.
And you were picking it up. Wow.
At the best of our ability. So when the gig came, We played the Oakland Auditorium.
Okay. How many seats are in the Oakland Auditorium?
That was, it had to be at least about 5 or 6. 5 or 6,000.
Oh wow. Okay.
I
So
thought you were gonna say 100.
y'all jumped from the living room straight
20,000.
into arenas
Yes.
almost.
That was the largest gift, but beside Rufus Thomas.
Yeah, that was
the second. And so we all a little nervous, you know. We do a little warm-up song. So the drummer, I mean, this dude was so bad. He was just naturally bad. He saw that we were nervous, so he did a big old rim shot, like plop, 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 boom. And then like got off the drum. While we still playing. We playing the intro. So he walked over to everybody. He walked over to me and said, "Hey man, don't worry about things. It's just a gig. You know, we're gonna have some fun." Then he walked to each musician, said the same thing. And then got back on the drum and just got right back into the beat again, you know? And we were so startled that we forgot how nervous we were. And so anyway, the song came out and we played a great show for him, you know. It just flowed. Everything came together. We had no wrecks. And so they left just like they came. We didn't think no more about it.
Right.
So we keep doing what we do. Okay. In the meantime, we end up going to LA. And because we had a college gig down there and we had our mind said we're gonna pick up some more gigs while we down there. Okay.
Now I have a question here. Now you go down to LA. Around what time period was this?
This was like 72.
Okay. The reason why I was asking that is because UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, during the 1960s and the 1970s, they had a burgeoning Black power movement there. You had the likes of Stokely Carmichael, the Black Panthers. They, they were there. They were recruiting some of the more notable people in history now that we know them. But you're playing there. Was the students there bringing you, or was it something else, that was saying to you, to be a part of, let's say, that Black Power movement? Because you're talking about a few years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, well, it was a school event that we went there for, but we played behind one of the organizations that also sponsored us was a nonprofit organization. And we did the song Stop the Violence. And they had support. There was a nonprofit organization which the Black Panthers sponsored them. So we did a lot of gigs for the Panthers and the movement.
Okay.
And stuff like that, a lot of events. But so we was involved in all that a little bit. We never did join any organization, but we was involved. And so while we was down there, just so happened that Cedric, a bass player, was buying one of the Orange Julius drinks and ran into this owner of this club called Ciudad de Haiti. Ciudad de Haiti is an after-hour restaurant. Excuse me, get a drink. And this was the Soul Train gang hung out at. And then when they do all the Kavlar dance and all, this was the cutting edge play.
Yeah.
So he let us audition there.
Fred Berry, absolutely.
So we went there, auditioned and got the gig. So we ended up staying in LA for about 2 or 3 weeks, 2 different occasions. It was about a month and a half. And we got turned out. We got the knickers, we got the big hats. We learned how to do the Kevlar dances and all that. Because this when Soul Train first came out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
and then did that for about a month. And then we take off with the Soul Children. So Soul Children came to town. Now, so I'm trying to tell these stories because there's a message in these stories somewhere. Okay, you look between the lines. Okay, just like we brought our equipment to the gig, we weren't supposed to play, but that's just how we roll. We're going to come prepared. Can anything jump up? We ready. Okay. So like,
yes,
in that month, we learned the cab rock and all that kind of stuff. So we go on the road with the Soul Children. And then And then we go on the road, we doing our little routine and everything, which is blowing everything, because like Soul Train dancers on TV. We is one of the first person they see live, other than on television, doing the break dance and all that stuff. Because we locking, because we've been turned out in LA. So when we go to the concert, they flew us in 3 weeks after us performing with the Soul Children. We did the Watch Stacks movie right after the concert. And during those 3 weeks, we were also playing behind Rufus Thomas. So any city that we was in, Rufus Thomas used up. He didn't bring it back.
And your mom didn't care? Because I know you said your parents were spiritual and all that, so they didn't care that you were playing this worldly music or anything. And you were still in high school too, right?
Well, my mother had a personal relationship with God. Okay, she was very, very spiritual, and we all went to church, and she sang in the choir and everything. But she had a sixth sense of ours. She knew I was going to be a musician, and she knew I was going to have to get out there one day. Okay, she tried to prepare me for all this. Try to stay away from drugs because she didn't know, because there's a lot of drugs flowing and fast women and all this kind of stuff. She prepared me the best way I knew how. And then Norman West, we were just blessed. When we left with the Soul Children on the road, we had to get their permission. But these was like, from Memphis, Tennessee, Southern Way. They had good morals and stuff like that. They were like our parents, and she made Norman West promise to watch over us. Okay, because she knew we was young. Okay, but so we had adult supervision actually. Because when we're on the road with the Soul Children, everybody else staying in town, and probably we go way out in the outskirts of town. Okay, where nobody's there. And we'll be mad. We say, why we got to go all the way out town? Everybody's staying in town.
Right.
I say, no, they're going way out. So if we're going to meet anybody or anything, we have to bring them out there, which means they have to have a car. They have to be about something.
Okay.
But most of the time, we were in the boonies, okay, for the first year.
Not boonies. So now your mom tried to keep you out of harm's way because you're talking about the late 60s, early 70s where, things were turbulent, especially in California. Now, my question now becomes, how did you avoid the draft, getting inducted into the Vietnam draft?
I was the youngest son, and my brother was already in the Army.
Okay.
And so I was in school.
Got you.
So my draft number was like 440 or something. So it was blessed. That was a blessing also.
Okay. So now they said, all right, we already got one of these mugs. Okay. So you kind of could slide a little bit, because I've heard that during that time period, that they that was the only time that things were equal. Like, we're gonna take everybody equally. Like, nah, we should only make up a certain percentage because we happen to be African American. But it seems like they were taking us at a 30% rate where we only made up, of the eligibility, like 8%. So it's like, this ain't right. It's skewed a particular way. So that's why I was asking that.
And a lot of brothers got taken out.
Absolutely. And it wasn't one thing was another, if it wasn't actually dying, but some people actually got dependent on chemicals over there, as well as coming back with a lot of trauma, and now we're starting to realize that, being in the military and being in those stressful environments can do stuff to a person mentally. But let's just speak on, your ascension into greatness, because now we was on a little stuff, because I want to talk about the performance that happened in the 70s, I believe, in Los Angeles, California, in the Coliseum. It was a production put on by Isaac Hayes, and he grabbed so many artists, and I was like, I don't know a lot of these artists, but some I did, but I didn't realize how big Isaac Hayes was, because most of the stuff that I listened to and I was first introduced to your music as well as others was in the 80s, where I could really consume it, but at the same time, I'm like, were you there at the Isaac Hayes performance at the Los Angeles Coliseum? They actually made a documentary about it recently in the last 3 years.
Well, we toured with Isaac Hayes. We did a lot of gigs with him at certain parts of the country. I don't know if we were at the LA that particular one though, but we did many
because
gigs.
that's
We got
because
bases. I'm sorry.
No, the reason why I'm saying that because I didn't know some of the names that the group became because I know you as the Con Funk Shun, you know, so that's why this is the purpose of the interview, like to learn all these nuances, you know, because it's super fascinating, and people who are, you know, super fans like, wait a minute, we didn't know you came from that group. Like, I'm gonna give you something that happened to me on the show previously. Like, I didn't know that Denise Williams, who sung Free and had a great career, and she was a backup singer for Earth, Wind and Fire. I was sitting there like, what? And she said, oh yeah, and Emotions too. And I was like, wait a minute, the Emotions and you was singers for Earth, Wind and Fire. I was like, yeah. And then blah, blah, and I was like, okay, y'all, we got to get everybody because these things have to come out. Because I didn't know, like I thought I knew stuff, and it was like, no, bro, you don't know nothing. And so that's why even speaking to you about some of these things, like, oh, okay, that's how that happened. Okay, you were going to sign the stacks. Oh no, we did that, and then we kept on moving. And I was like, yo, fam, how you getting, you know, you about 17, 18 years old. So you should be graduating from high school, thinking about college. You know, the war is going on. The war movement was huge in California. The Black Panthers was going on. So we got to touch all these things because you had to navigate all these things and still become great. So that's why I'm like touching on some of these things.
Well, you know, I always say, and I love to discuss it because it's a true testimony. You know, I wrote a book, you know, called My Life and Fun Time with Con Funk Shun. And it's basically a testimony on how God has blessed our life, and especially mine as well. And how he just walks us through every phase. Nothing that, you know, I mean, I can tell you, you know, the floor plan that we took, but I give all credit to God. Okay, because he walked, I mean, our first road trip, our driver drove off the road into a field. It must have been about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we had been driving for about, 70 hours. We didn't get no rest the night before because we were celebrating because we made our decision to move to Memphis in a 36-hour notice. 36 hours with that. Memphis was the farthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, we went to see the Soul Children.
Okay, wait a minute. Because, like, to me, I'm a history buff. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were going to Memphis, and you're talking about in the early 70s, right after King's assassination in Memphis, Tennessee in 68.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, because Memphis was kind of rough around that time.
Yeah.
It was total cultural shock. Okay. When we finally arrived in the city of Memphis, man, I saw PG&E with 4 or 5 brothers in the ditch, digging a hole, and the white man in the truck. Okay. Like, I said, man, this is like the old days. There wasn't no change. The guys still, which I still feel that today in some places. Okay. But it was very evident back there. It was total. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I moved, but I live in Atlanta now, and I love it here because of actually the music. They still really appreciate R&B music here in this area. Yeah. The people are real, and a lot of opportunities here in the South. A lot of professional people here in Atlanta. That's why it's blowing up so big. But I'm sorry, I drift. I drift from.
It's okay. I drift off.
Right. I'm with you. Look, okay. I'm drifting with you.
We right there, drifting. You know I'm on. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So now you in Memphis and you playing, you seeing some things like, wait a minute, I heard about this, but in California, Vallejo, we don't play that. You know what I mean? Y'all are a little bit different. Like, somebody hit me, we hitting them back. we don't come from.
Did you guys experience any of that? Like racially, you guys were young and you're out. Did you ever experience any of that?
Well, like I said, I'm blessed. God blessed me because a lot of my friends were actually was worried about me coming, especially because they knew I was kind of very, spoke my mind and then, take a lot of time. So, but when we moved into our apartment, we was there for maybe 2 or 3 days, if that long. And we were in the parking lot, the band, we had really 2 apartments. It would be nine guys, okay? And of course, one room had to have 5 guys, and with 4 and 4, one room had to have 5 guys. That had to be my room. So we had the brotherhood, and so the brotherhood, we all got along good, right? So we had no problem. Anyway, so we in the parking lot having fun, just talking, and so this police car pulls up, and Barney 5 and his partner got out the car.
Barney 5, right? I got you.
And they say we've been hearing that there was some loud noise or something like this. It was we're supposed to be bothering people. And I said, man, you barking up the wrong tree. We ain't doing nothing out here. And when I said that, Barney 5, the little show, got in my face just like this. Said, you don't tell me I'm barking up the wrong tree. You barking up the wrong tree. And I just looked at him, like this. And I glanced up at his partner, and partner, big dude, big boned dude, right? But he's laughing at him. He's laughing at his partner because, well, it's kind of funny because I said, it reminds me of a disturbed Barney 5. Okay. And I just looked at him, and I forgot what I said, but I said, well, after he calmed down, I just looked at him and said, but we don't mean no harm. We just out here relaxing. We live out here. That's what we do. Okay. And so he calmed down. So that's the closest, and that was like my first day, second day there. Okay. So, but we were very blessed, had very few problems. Now we had a situation with this high school after we got popular, and we had the booking agency and all that stuff. This high school booked us to play for their prom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a white school. We played all the white school. We played Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Arkansas, Ozarks, and all around South Orangeburg, South Carolina, Washington D.C., Howard, everything. So anyway, but we was I lost my point. Where was I at?
So you were talking about the different places that you played, but I want to talk about other events, because how did you guys come from your name and then start the name Con Funk Shun? Like, when did that happen?
That was when we got our production deal when we moved to Memphis. Con Funk Shun was born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
Right.
Yeah.
So
when we got our deal, they said, well, we think we should get a more progressive name. Okay. Yep. So we had a meeting, we threw a whole bunch of names in the bag. So we had a 7-man partnership, which became a 7-man corporation eventually. And so we played this song called Con Funk Shun. It was written by a group called the Nightlighters. Okay. And they used that for an introduction of a very syncopated song. Okay. Yeah. And we liked it, so we used it for our intro, our introduction. Mm-hmm. And so during that meeting, we actually kind of used a technique called placement. We didn't know if we were doing it, but it's a thing that you do in corporations, where one corporation would put the name that would be close to it. Like if you want to be sell computers, you come up with something like IBM, but it's not.
Right.
So we said Con Funk Shun. We could see ourselves open up for like Funkadelic and Bootsy and all that kind of stuff. We saw the billboards, the whole nine. So I said, let's go with Con Funk Shun, man. Cause I think that's what, at this day and age, funk was in.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
When we had Project Soul, Soul was in. That was back when James Brown.
Yeah. 60s was soul and
Right.
70s was
Right.
funk.
So that's
I
how
love it.
music evolved. Every 10 years, something like that, we go to. You know, anyway, so
Yeah.
it stuck. We pulled it out, and we've been and it's still working today.
Okay, so now during this time period, because it got crowded quickly, all right,
Yeah.
because like you said, I looked at, I wasn't born until mid 70s. So now I'm looking at some of the things that you were saying. Okay. So you had the soul music. Yeah, James Brown was larger than life. You had this young guy with his brothers, Michael Jackson, imitating James Brown. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
he became popular. And then
Mm-hmm.
he took off, his family took off.
Mm-hmm.
Then during that time, you go a little later, you have the white group emulating them, the Osmonds. Then from the Osmonds, you also had Parliament Funkadelic, Plainfield, New Jersey. Oh, stand up. All right. So you had George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelics. Now that actually kind of revolutionized and said, all right, we trying to knock the door
Yeah.
down and bring
Yep.
this new
For
music
sure.
genre of funk into it, which all the young people gravitated towards.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, then there was another group, the Ohio Players and Sly and the
Yeah.
Family Stone
Yeah.
during that time period. Then you guys as well
You
were
got the
coming on the
B-side.
scene,
You got all
and
Mm-hmm.
then
that.
you had
Mm-hmm.
all of these different groups, and then you had another genre coming in on the end of the 70s, which was disco. Now, how did you guys navigate the time and all of these phenomenal? And I didn't even mention the Beatles.
Bands.
Mm-hmm.
The Beatles was hitting during that time. So
Yeah.
how did you navigate? It's like you got monsters around you.
Yeah.
How did you say, hey, take a look at us? We're Con Funk Shun.
And still be in your lane and don't sound like them. Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
Exactly. Well, again, to the grace of God, but we had also good management.
Okay.
We had state of the art. Matter of fact, we and our team revolutionized the way people looked at promoters and management because we had became friends with Clarence Jones, which he
Mm-hmm.
worked with Quentin Perry with Taurus Productions. They was the number one promoters in back in those days, in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They're the first one brought up Prince. They took F-105, Commodore, everybody. They took coast to coast,
Gotcha.
matter of fact. And they partnership in California in some places, but the South was all there. And so his partner befriended our drummer.
Okay.
And we started staying in touch with them and everything. And I got a chance to meet him. And so they ended up becoming an eighth man of the group, which one is
Gotcha.
going to be a 7-man group, right? So, and they took on booking us. Now, at that time, that was supposed to be a conflict of interest
Yeah. You
for
had
a
Yeah.
promoter
Right.
to manage a
To
group.
be
Correct.
right.
But since Clarence was just like wasn't actually the promoter, he was just like a middleman.
Mhm.
We could get away with it. So anyway, once we signed with Clarence, they matched the record company because our record company at that time, Polygram Records,
Okay.
after it
Polygram,
left
right.
Mercury Records,
Mercury.
Mercury.
they really wasn't spending a whole lot of money, okay,
Mhm.
on black acts, period. They have, the promotions that black acts get, they're totally different than your pop acts and
Correct.
and all that. It's and it's still that way today. Okay.
Mhm.
So and that's why the groups broke up and go through. It's always like a thing that most of the groups went through, because they're fighting to survive. You know, and if you were able to go solo, well, you would make more money solo than you have more control. So it was a vicious circle. But at the time, we signed. What was I at?
You
Okay,
signed
so you
on
broke up the
Mercury
group,
Records.
signed with Mercury
Yeah.
Records. Then groups actually breaking up because they needed more money and they're trying to survive.
Oh yeah, your question: how did we survive? Well, we are blessed. We was able to have excellent producers. Skip Scarborough really took us over the hump. Okay, and those hits that we was able to be consistent with for about a 10-year period still stuck, you know? And like the group is touring today. God brought me out of that situation. Okay. I got married, so I ended up doing to Africa as doing ministry in Africa, minister of music in church. After I left the group, I got involved in ministry and stuff like that. My wife a preacher and stuff like that. But I got pulled back in after 40 years when the guys redid Love Train.
Yeah. Who did it? Who remade Love Train?
Just on my tip of my tongue.
Let's see. Right. I don't know who redid it.
Love Train.
Little Filipino dude. They love,
What, Usher? What is it?
Let's see.
Chris Brown? But no, we're researching. Yeah. We got it. Yeah, you all got it. We're looking. All right. So now during that time period, because this is some of the old questions I have. All right.
Yeah.
There was a group called Average White Band, and you guys, and I was like, like I'm super young when you guys, were really tearing it up, and you were one of the premier bands, So I'm listening, and I'm like, I couldn't tell you guys apart. The Average White Band and Con Funk Shun. Now, so now for me, it was almost like in my era, that was like New Kids on the Block versus New Edition. Obviously, New Edition, my sisters are like, oh, I love this one. I'm like, I ain't like them. I hated them, because all the girls liked them. And I was jealous. That's all it was. But for you guys, I was like, wait a minute. I couldn't tell, Love of Your Own. And then I listened to some of the other, and even, your sound, because the way you sung, the music was in front of the singer. Most of the time, the singer is in front of the music. So when you listen to it, you hear the music, and then like all the traditional old singers, you have a grand entrance. So it's like a build up, and you waiting for the lyrics, like dun 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 dun, like, oh my God, who's coming in? And it's like, now the singer may sing. It's like a big performance at the beginning, at a crescendo, and then all right, let's sing. And when I listened to Average White Band, and I listened to you guys, I was like, who came first? And did y'all have a rivalry, like a quiet rivalry going
on? No, during that time, but the Europeans, they study us.
Yes, but they were American, weren't they?
No, they were European.
Oh, so that makes sense now.
Yeah.
So now they absolutely, because you're absolutely.
I got it.
Okay. So they came over, and then they had the Blue Eye Soul movement.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Bars.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So now.
Hey, wait a minute, Love Train. That was by Anderson .Paak and
Anderson .Paak.
Mars did it over with Silk Sonic. They did it over.
Right.
They did it over.
Yes.
Check. Cha-ching. Okay, we understand.
After 40 years,
Cha-ching.
Exactly.
Cha-ching.
And they were hot. Yes.
That's a total blessing, from God. That don't happen every often. But to answer your earlier question, I was saying our management kept us hot. They kept us on the road touring for like 5-10 years straight, and we consistently dropping albums, right, on a major label. So it kept us in the, we kind of stayed as long as we could. The rap finally took over.
Yeah, that took everybody out.
You guys are moving from 1973, I see on here, all the way down to like 86. You guys were still making not even just albums and singles in the middle of all of that too. And then you did hit the rap, right? You did hit the rap a little bit, because you actually had a little engagement with Lil Wayne. He chose one of your songs to do some recording with.
Bless his heart. Bless his heart. Yeah. I adopted Lil Wayne. I don't care what you say.
Little Weezy. Okay.
So you adopted it. Hey, how you think he feels right now? You heard about the Super Bowl, and he's a little upset. He can't perform at halftime. Yeah,
But,
he's a little upset. How you think about that? Do you think he should have got to perform in his own city?
well, that's why I take music very casual now, because when we was in it, it was more real. They didn't have all these games that they play. They play games now.
Yeah.
I got stories.
Yeah. No, that's what we here for.
We love the
Oh,
story.
absolutely. You can lay them out, air them out. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this right quick, and I'll get back to your question. Back when our first tour with the Staple Singers, Bobby Womack, the Emotions,
Oh yeah,
a group called Sons of Slums. They were clones, Funkadelic clones. And then with Soul Children, and we opened up for Soul Children. Powerful tour. Now, this tour, the Staple Singers was headlining.
Yeah.
But Bobby Womack, every night, he had this hit song, If You Think You're Lonely Now.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And see,
yes.
like, I found out by working with these old school musicians and artists, the stage is like war. They coming to take down. Like our generation, and then everybody, we share the speakers. We want everybody to do their best. We just honest. But those guys, they took it to the next level. They said, they're very serious. So like Bobby Womack, when he was time for him to come off stage, he would he'd be in his hit song. He would jump off in the audience and let the women pull off of their clothes and everything. But he was tearing it up, during that time. And by the time they got him back on stage, then he would start the song all over again. Okay, so it got to the point when the Staple Singers for time to perform, they cut into their time. They may only have 20 minutes or a half hour. Okay, because during that time, it was seniority. The headline is supposed to close the show.
Correct.
The main act, they still supposed to close the show. But he felt, I think personally, he felt
he was bigger,
disrespected for not being able to close the show. So he bogarted the show. You know what I'm saying? He did. And so they ended up letting him close the show so that they could do their own show. Because this been on for about 2 weeks. And the Staple Singers was getting hot and everything. So they said, we will go on third and he can have the close. He can perform as long as he wants. So that's just some of the rivalry that goes on in the business. Now, as far as Lil Wayne and all stuff, I really think since it's like got a whole year, okay, I'm saying hopefully they can work something out, I mean, because there's politics in the game, man.
Yeah.
There's politics, and people have, when you have people in power, okay, for the music business is a very small world. If you step on one person's foot, it can have repercussions, a year down the line. You never know. Okay. But I hate that happened, Lil Wayne. I hope they sort it out.
At least bring them on or something.
No, they could, but I don't think it was about that. Honestly, the Super Bowl halftime show is one of the premier events in music, period. But I don't even think it was about music. I think it was just the reliability of Lil Wayne. Because, anytime you're dealing with a person that's, suffering from substance abuse, you don't know how to rely on that person. I know that there's artists that you kind of say, yeah, when they're sober, they may give a great performance. But now it's like, are they going to be sober? Are they going to be dependable? Or will they show up? So now if you have to ask all these questions, it's like, okay, let's go to the next person, and you go accordingly. I don't think that the Super Bowl is going to lend itself until he cleans up his act. Just personally, I think that whoever he kind
of blamed himself too. He
absolutely.
He was like, "Hey, I just assumed because it was my city, they was gonna pick me." Being a little bit arrogant, probably a little bit, just in his status. But he was like, "Hey, gotta
it would make sense, but I just didn't like where so many people were blaming Jay-Z for it. I didn't think that was fair.
I wasn't,
because I said if it wasn't Jay-Z and it was just the Super Bowl committee, you don't know who to blame. So it's like, okay, there's the black face that's up there, we're gonna blame him. Like, wait a minute. So many people used to blame Spike Lee for the Knicks losing. I was like, he ain't a general manager. You know, he ain't making trades. Spike Lee is in the front row, and we gotta blame him. I said, you acting like there's one seat in the front row. He's sitting one of probably 100 seats that's in the front row, but we got to find that black face to say he's the one that did it. So it's like, you know, and that's why I was like, there's something different. But I really like you clearing that up for me, because if the Average White Band was from Europe, they probably did look at you like, yeah, we gonna play that as homage, but at the same time, like, okay, we got the same shine. And I was like, you know, my little trained ear was like, wait a minute, I hear something that's familiar, and I don't know what's going on. But during that time period, it was always the rivalry, which goes on throughout Black culture. It's not just in music. It seems like you can't have two. They pitted Michael Jackson against Prince, even though learning over time, it wasn't Mike and Prince having a beef. It was really Prince and James Brown. I mean, not James Brown, Rick James. So I was like, what? I didn't know that, but somebody else kind of put me on to some stuff. And I was like, oh, he was like, yeah, because Rick James was doing all the biography of his life and blah, blah, blah. And then Prince got wind of it. I was like, all right, Purple Rain. I said, oh, Prince did that. It was like, yeah, Rick James wrote all the music. And then he kept on getting high next to one day. And they said, we're not dealing with it no more. And comes Lionel Richie as the writer. So during the 80s, you had Lionel Richie writing for everybody. And I was like, because Rick James was the writer doing the set. So these are like some of the conversations with some of these artists that I say, So now we learned Bobby Womack did a whole lot of stuff. He needs a series. You know, he needs a movie and a series just alone, because some of the stuff I was like, he did that. And it was like, yeah. And I said, okay, well, that's different. I don't want to bring up too much bad history. But now let's get back to Con Funk Shun. So who was the main writers for you guys? Because I'm gonna tell you about myself. I used to I told them I was the corniest dude in my middle school and partly in high school. I tell everyone who's listening, smart corny dudes become cool in college. Right? All right, you become cool in college, because then smart guys are cool. Like if you smart in middle school and high school, you ain't cool. But let me say this. I used to put on your songs, like some of them, like, you know, songs in the 70s and 80s, because y'all used to rap. And when I mean not rap like, you know, Lil Wayne, like I mean rap to the ladies. You used to say, you know, like,
really smooth.
You know, and then y'all break out into somebody just start talking. Like, listen, baby, you know, Hal Melvin was one of the best ones. You know, they was just talking to people. So I would put y'all music on in the background, and then I'd be talking on the phone, talking like, yeah, you hang up. Yeah, that's right. No, I wasn't like that. I don't want to get in trouble at home, bro. But now for you guys, knowing that you had little me's out there trying to steal all the little lines that nobody really knew, and then putting them in my own little rap, how did you guys, you know, navigate being like, let's say, sex symbols, and then your personal life? Because I know that as a band, they say the band has its own following.
Yeah.
And then if you have a church boy there, and I saw the 5 Heartbeats, you know, when Choir Boy left his Bible on over there on the, you know, phone booth, you know, things went different for Choir Boy, and he got another nickname. He told people to call him Rock. I was like, oh wow. So I'm just saying, for you as being a church and God fan, man, was there a time that, you know, you was in the shadow of the Lord? You know, you wasn't right in the direct sunlight. You was, you know, dibbling and dabbling over there.
I repented for everything, and God forgave me for it.
And I'm not going.
So that was
So that was on myself.
And now
I ain't going back.
Can move on. That's right.
Hey, that's the good one. Go ahead, Mr. Open Book.
Good answer. Good answer.
Thank God for repentance, because
thank God it's between you and your Lord. Absolutely.
Because you guys, I don't ever remember hearing anything negative about your band, even though I was young. Like nowadays, you hear, probably because of social media and things are different, but I didn't hear a lot of negativity with Con Funk Shun. I never heard about the band, like this person did this. Besides, you guys break up, you know what I mean? I didn't hear anything, you know, about that. So I guess that was
praise the Lord. And I feel so, I take it personal that we did know how to carry ourselves. The guys, we all came from good families. and stuff like that. Our family supported the group as well, as much as they could. And we, when when the group first started, and since then, groups that I've been involved with, I always, support the fact that we have to have respect for everybody in the group. There's no dictator, there's no boss. In my situation, I'm the dictator because I decided it's gonna be done. I'm not gonna see if you have a 7-man vote and everybody is not educated on the subject that you're voting on, you're not going to get the right decision. Okay, you can't get. So it's important for a democracy for everyone to be educated of the facts. Now, since I done paid my dues and everything, I'm blessed to be able. It's a dictatorship. Okay, I don't have to. I don't have to. Ain't no votes here. Because
Ain't no vote.
it's always been
It's
proven.
highway, huh? Okay,
I know how it works. So it's gonna be my way or the highway. This is that's all good. I don't have to, I don't have to settle for anything else. But but to complete your first question is our management was very helpful in the success that we had because they were master record companies. They used their own money. We became investors in our own tours. We was fortunate enough to be able to tour at a very early part of our career. Actually, we had to tour too early. We really wasn't ready, but when like
you were playing other people's music.
What his name? The guy that's father shot him.
Oh, Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye fell out the game. I think we opened up for his last tour.
Oh wow! So I was in the 80s because he died in what 85, 84 around that time. Okay, so now my question to you, because I just thought about something you just mentioned. You said you were able to invest in your own tour. How does that go as far as the business and residuals that come from it? So were you doing merchandise back then and receiving a cut? Because we heard that many groups during the 60s and 70s got really ripped off by their management as well as their record label.
Well, the music business is a cold world. Everybody, and you have to have a strong heart. And everyone that I represent or give basically information to, I have to express that point to them. Now, in our case, our management, we had good management, like I was saying. And they made sure that instead of being an employee of the tour, we was part promoters with them. Okay, so we had very good touring dates. Okay, and we was able to go from, even when we wasn't hot, we was able to put on one tour to another. But we went from the OJs, the Bootsy, the James Brown, just like that. It was whoever was out there, we had access to that to perform on those stages. So, but it is hard. Musician life is not easy because one thing, everybody need a piece of the musician. The management need a piece. Your booking agency want a piece. Your attorney want a piece. And it goes on, continue on and on. You need to have a business manager. And then Uncle Sam want his piece.
Okay, you want hit first.
Gotcha. Then your girl want their piece, and then the fans want
children want a piece.
The kids.
A lot of people taking out a lot of actors, especially black and musicians, just from taxes. Expecting or depending on someone else, thinking someone else is taking care of that, but they're not. Okay, so they end up, losing everything. So it's tough business out there. But it's also a great business, okay? But you can't get caught up in the hype. Like, just get in where you fit in, okay? And be true to it,
Okay.
And so now, willing to evolve, because like you said, you got to change. Go ahead, Big O.
Okay. This part of the show is where I actually ask you a couple of questions. All right. You can choose, we call it this or that. All right, so you can choose one or the other. You could decide to say neither because you're not doing it, but it's too hard to do. You may have to say both. All right, so let me give you something super easy. Okay, let's just say baseball teams. Let's say the Los Angeles Dodgers or the Oakland A's.
My choice?
Yes, your choice.
Oakland A's.
Oakland A's. Okay.
Oakland A's.
So you choose one. So for that question, you could have said neither. You say I'm a Cubs fan, or you could have said both. I can't choose between. So you say one or the other, neither or both. But my thing is to make it so hard that you can't choose. That's where I get my pride from. Like, I can't make him choose because I gave him such a hard one. All right, so I'm gonna start off with some easy ones, some slow ones, and they're gonna gradually go up. And most of the time somebody be like, hey, give me something hard, like they get too confident. Then I give them some hard. And they go, all right, so let me give you some easy ones. All right, grits or oatmeal?
Grits.
Okay.
But I like both too.
I thought it was an easy one. All right. You spent time in Memphis and you're saying both. Okay. All right. Okay. You go with oatmeal in Memphis. Too. Okay. I didn't know they even made oatmeal in Memphis. All right. No problem. Okay. Let's go. Let's go a little low. Let me turn up the temperature because I see you're watching a game. All right. So we're going to go with this. USC or University of Georgia football?
And so those are hard ones because traditionally I'm West Coast, but I'm here in Georgia now, and the Bulldogs ain't no joke.
Yeah, I know.
So I have to go with the Dogs. That means until they show me different.
Okay, gonna be hard to go home. All right, okay. Let get some more hard ones. All right, give me some more hard ones. What? Oh man. Oh, I just forgot the other great. But don't worry, right? Michael Jackson or Prince?
Well, I'm gonna be nice. They both are geniuses and all that, but it gotta be Michael Jackson. But I was like, I put Michael Jackson and Prince. I admire both of them. Prince are both Gemini, so he got points there. But Michael Jackson just born gifted, talented, and before his time, really. So
okay, so you go Mike. All right,
they at the top, so you picking some good ones.
All right, yeah. Look. I got a couple of hard. Look. That was a fastball. Let me throw a little slider. This one a little hard for some people, maybe easy for others.
Yeah.
The Commodores or Kool and the Gang?
I know I pick.
Wow.
Yeah, I do that.
Both of my friends. So I think I'll give a nod to Lionel for being Lionel Richard being such a great writer. I give them a nod.
Oh, okay.
But Kool and the Gang is fat.
I know. Listen. I got another one like that too. I got another one like that because I was gonna put this group, but some people don't know how great one of the writers was in this group. So, but I'm gonna make this one a little bit easier. Okay. Do you put Heat Wave, or Heat Wave or Sly and the Family Stone?
Oh, Sly all the way.
Gotcha.
That's Sly from Vallejo from my own town.
Oh, okay.
See, that's what I said. Some people might think it's hard because I was going to do the Commodores and Heat Wave because Templeton was a phenomenal writer and Lionel Richie is a great writer. But I said let me switch them up. But I knew what you was going to pick. Everybody was a Sly fan back in the day. They was only thing that's above Sly was George Clinton in Parliament because they came first. All right, yeah. All right, cool. Okay, now let's go a little bit more contemporary. All right, let's see if you this one might be easy for you, but for the people too. Silk Sonic. I just forgot the one. Just slipped my mind. It's coming back. Blah blah blah. Oh, Mint Condition.
It's Silk Sonic.
Okay, people know. Mint Condition is that thing.
They redid the song.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is that these are still true classic bands, whereas we don't have so many.
Real music.
So the only current band that mostly everybody uses is the Roots, but they have no real rival. right now. But Silk Sonic is the closest thing to mint condition. They both are great, but Silk Sonic gets the nod because they're doing some of the classic 70s, like that era. Because Solid Gold, Marilyn McCoo, people don't even know who she is. I ain't tell you that I wanted to be a Solid Gold dancer. Real talk. All right.
Oh, I love the Solid Gold dancing.
Okay, but look. Let's see what you know now. Let me hit you with something. All right. The Silvers or the Barge?
Well, the Barge.
Okay. All right. I thought the Silvers.
Yeah, cause my daughter loved Al DeBarge.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was her first
light skin. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Listen. Give you something a little bit easier. The Oakland Raiders or the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, actually, that Kansas City until they beat Kansas City. That's what I have. The rest of them don't have a chance to me.
I'm talking about the Oakland. I ain't talking about the Vegas.
Neither.
Oh, he neither. So he going with KC. He going with Patty Mahomes. Okay. All right. Let me turn up. Let me see him turn up the temperature for him a little bit. LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan. I like LeBron too, but I got Michael Jordan, man, old school, all the way.
Okay.
All right.
Michael Jordan got that killer instinct. That's what is missing.
Okay. Let me give you the people in your era: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Wilt Chamberlain.
Well,
so your brain frying.
Yeah, I'm getting them. See, look at them.
I know those they both great at their in their time.
Indeed.
I think I love LeBron, Al Jabbar.
Jabbar, okay, all right. Let me give you a little easy one because that one was kind of tough. Sometimes I'm hard. Look, sometimes I'm hard on the people, but I'll give you a little easy one. Jim Brown or Barry Sanders?
Who?
Jim Brown or Barry Sanders?
I'll go with Jim Brown.
Jim Brown over Barry Sanders. Oh God. All right. Okay. Not a problem, sir. Not a problem. Let's go to foods. Let's Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes.
Okay. All right. This is crazy. All right. And now we got to get to the hard stuff, brother. We got to talk about the ladies. All right. Shaka Khan or Patti LaBelle?
Personally, Shaka Khan.
All right.
Patty ain't no joke. That's just my personal.
Because it's easy. Everybody put Patty against Aretha, but I like throwing Shaka in there because it's like, ooh, because everybody knows. Just like, it's like Stephanie Mills and Shaka Khan are wild cards. It's like you can't go wrong. But I like throwing Patty and them against them too, because most of the time it's Aretha and Patty. And I knew you was gonna pick Aretha because she's Queen of Memphis, so that's why I took her out.
Yeah,
right? And you was hit Memphis like me. Ooh, let me give you a little harder one because you're stopping ground. E40 or Tupac Shakur?
Gotta go with E40. That's family.
Hey, you said it's family.
That's what I'm talking about. He said,
"I'm like E40.
I gotta go home." Yeah, I used to tell
family right there.
Yeah, I buy a pit of wheat because my pit's gotta eat. Oh, the hardest E40 line. Absolutely. I told all my football players that line. They like, no.
For sure.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna give you one more. One more. I gotta make it good because okay. No, that's not fair. But no, you got to settle it because you are the expert. So you have to settle it because it's the two groups of my childhood of growing up, and people are throwing them up and they don't know who's better. But you got to settle it because some of my friends called me and they didn't like my answer. But you are the expert, sir. So for my last question, Boyz II Men or Jodeci? Yeah, it's a hard one, brother.
Yeah, it is. I gotta go with Boyz II Men.
Ooh, okay. To the end of the road. go. Okay. All right. So all right, listen. You did better than I anticipated. I thought I was going to jam you up a few times. You was all right. You were able to stand on what you said. And yeah, no one has done perfect. Let me put that out there. No one. I've always looked at research, try to see who had affiliations, and then go against those people. And it's like, well, I like this group,
Indeed.
but I don't with this people because I just thought that Tupac and E40 was going to get you, but you was like, boy, I'm going home. I'm from the Vallejo. Absolutely. So my question is, because we just finished that part, but now my question is, going forward, and now that you are touring with Con Funk Shun and there's another cover band, how is that for you, and how did that come about?
Well, that's when the group discontinued back in '86. I took a year off because we've been going like nonstop since high school, right? Mm-hmm. And so I took a break because I had to, regroup, right? Figure out what I was going to do. I had family and everything, but got real jobs.
What you mean by real job?
Huh?
What about real job? That was a real job. What job did you
went
do?
To work at like at a organization, at a factory? Like, what did you do when you got off? You went back to work. You didn't.
When the group discontinued in '86, me and my family, we moved to Sacramento, and my wife was securing her job. She worked in for a music store, as a matter of fact. Okay. So I took an apprenticeship, and I started working for the hospital as a lab technician.
Wow. Okay.
And I also worked as self and doing calling.
A call center.
Yeah, in a call center. Telemarketing, actually.
Okay. Hold up, brother. So the singer is doing. So you could have called me, and I didn't know that was you.
Man, yeah, and it was very interesting because I needed a break, but I got pulled back in. When the people I'm working with, if they find out what I did before, I try to not bring it up.
Yeah, right.
But I would give them information. I help other people get record deals when I wasn't even trying to be involved and everything. So, but like I say, after about a year, I got pulled back in. I started writing with my cousin Jay King. That's when he started his own label, and he had the first rap group, New Choice. He had all the groups. He had very, very many groups. He had Shantae Moore.
Okay.
And so I was writing for New Choice and other things, and one thing led to another. I started working with groups. Groups will hire me to fix their band. I need help fixing my band. And so I would come in and as a music director, and one thing led to another. So one of the groups I was working with, but from day one was telling me to do my own band, do my own Con Funk Shun. I said, nah, I didn't want to do that. I said, one thing is a pain in the butt. Okay, so Con Funk Shun music is not the easiest music to teach. And I was over it, If I'm just willing to do whatever. I was fortunate to be able to play with some great reggae bands. Also was able to work with some great jazz groups. I played Xyloto. I played with Xylo Occasion Band. Let's put it like that. All these different types of music that I really enjoyed. New wave rock, and so I had a chance to really round up my musical experience. And then one day, an offer hit me that I couldn't refuse. The offer to put together my Con Funk Shun review. Okay, I'll be down for a while.
All right, we get you off of here.
I'm not in a hurry. I'm having fun.
Okay, that's what I like. You the
I'm having
star.
fun
That's
too.
right.
I
You the
love
star.
it.
Okay, so now you had an offer you couldn't refuse. So so that means the paper was right, ladies and gentlemen. The paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
that's
Okay.
right. And he got a family now, so yes.
And
Okay.
it was like a miracle because I had just came back from touring Vegas for a year. Had put together a band in Vegas, and then the guy decided to take a break from that. So I had 2 grandbabies I hadn't seen yet. Okay, so I'm coming home around the holidays, take a break, just chill out, and figure out what I'm going to do next, right?
Mhm.
And when I did that, it made like heaven opened up. People was calling me for gigs because they found out I was in town. Then I got this offer to do my own band, my Con Funk Shun video. Cash money in advance and everything. I said, wow, okay. So I
Sweet.
told a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a year, but he kept in touch with me. His name was Asian bass, premier bass player in the Bay Area. And we knew each other. We went to school together. We took some music courses together. And I said, I got this good paying gig, but I don't know any musicians anymore. I just got in town. He said, don't worry about it. I know a bunch of musicians who love to play with you.
Okay.
So give me a week. So a week went by. I went to Oakland, and these guys been rehearsing. I gave them a song list. These guys been rehearsing the music for a week, and I had a band put together for me, just like that.
That's
Okay.
sweet.
Wow. Bars
So
on that.
I said,
Love
it must be meant to be. Okay. So this never happened this evening.
Yeah.
And we all got along, and so the first gig was a total success and everything. And so it opened my eyes to a whole new different way of looking at things now. Okay.
What do you mean?
And so I continued doing my music direction and stuff like that, and staying involved in church. And then one thing led to another, and here we are. I have an East Coast band and a West Coast band.
What?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
East Coast and West Coast.
That's
Coast to coast.
wow. So when you
That's
go
great.
to New York, you have one band, and then if you go to LA, you have another band.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
Is that more? Would that be more expensive? The overhead?
No, actually it's not. It's almost like Johnny Be Good. That song Johnny Be Good. The artist
Is it Chuck Berry?
But yeah.
Yeah.
He never had a band.
I thought Chuck Berry had a band in DC.
Huh?
I thought he didn't have a band, his own personal band.
No, because everybody knew his music. All he did was go to town. He go to he rolled up in the city and put the word out that
he looking
he
for
needs some musicians, and people is there. Know his all his music, everything, and he just picks from the best of the best.
He's at A&T's homecoming every year for an event. Every year before he passed, he was 70 plus up on that guitar.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
But see, remember that's the one the drummer had was saying that different people would just hey, I need a band, I need a drummer, and you just kind of get on. Wow. I know this is kind of like the but Felton Pilot. I know he's doing a Con Funk Shun thing too. So do you guys have a relationship? Do you still talk? Because I know he has Con Funk Shun website, and you still do Con Funk Shun, or is it one?
No, we have separate groups.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. See, we had to go to litigation about this as well, but
I'm sure, right.
I have the right to use the name Con Funk Shun, but I don't want to cause any confusion. So when I always use Danny Thomas Con Funk Shun. Okay.
Gotcha.
Then original member, stuff like that. Gotcha. I didn't want to. I want the people to know what they're paying their money to go see. Okay, gotcha. This is my version of the Con Funk Shun show, and so so I prefer it that way. So yeah, but I give them all the blessings, and I wish them all the luck, and they still are doing a great show.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question becomes, if you were original member, you're saying that the other group, he wasn't original member. He just was one of the.
No, he's in a member too. He's an
He
original.
was a member, original member as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Felton, Michael, and Carl Fuller are the three remaining original members of the group.
Gotcha. Not a problem. And the reason why I asked that question is because you guys have a great history, and I would assume, only assuming because I do not know, you have some royalties of some of the songs that was written, and I'm like, okay, so a lot of times you don't have groups that was writing at the time. You had individuals writing. Now you have camps that write together, but back then you had individuals. So if you're playing someone's song, I was like, do you have to pay them to play the song, like because you're original member? Do they have to pay you to play the songs? And that was part of the litigation?
Part of the litigation. I have the rights to all the music. We all individually have rights to all the music that we perform and stuff like that. And but to answer your question, Michael and Felton did write most of the songs.
Okay.
But, because they formed themselves a writing team. And at one time, almost came, us against them. But I was fortunate enough to get at least one song on every album. Okay. Cedric Martin, he was able to get a few songs on an album. We did a couple of group songs where everybody participated. Okay. But they was, basically looking out. They formed a writing team which they felt comfortable with. Okay. And but I was fortunate. If I needed help from Felton, he would do his best to help me. And Michael Cooper sang hooks on most of the songs that I wrote. So we had a system that was working. What we actually kind of really disagreed on was the publishing part of it. Because we own our own publishing, which very few groups actually get a chance to do, especially back in the day.
True.
And so my stance was, since the group is the vehicle that is promoting the song, the group deserves a piece of the publishing on every song that the group released.
Correct.
And so that's how it was. We split it, divide publishing with the group. Publishing company, which was Vallejo Music, 50% of publishing went to Vallejo Music, which we all shared in.
Correct.
Okay. So, but after a few years went by, we had votes, and the people wasn't satisfied. They wanted more of the pie, so they were eventually dissolved over years. The group publishing got dissolved because certain people didn't want their money to go into a group publishing. But I hated that happened. But I fought him as long as I could.
Yeah, and that's and listening to how you explained it, that's almost like you going back on your word. Like, all right, we're gonna agree to split it this way, and then you kind of go away and say, all right, why are you still getting money? And I wrote it. It's like, well, we sang it and we made the song popular. So I see both sides. Because if I write a hit, I think Neo explained it one time, and I was like, okay, because one of the songs he did, I didn't know he wrote, but he wrote Irreplaceable for Beyonce. And so when I found out, I was like, oh, okay. And then his manager at the time said, I think it was L.A. Reid. He said, it may sound better. I hope I didn't get the manager wrong. If I did, apologies. But I believe, he said, it'll sound better, that song coming from a woman and not a man. And so it really worked because he gave it to Beyonce and it became a smash. However, he doesn't have 100% publishing on that song. And I was like, well, if he wrote the song and he was about to perform, and he's a big artist on his own, and it was like, well, she gets some of the publishing because she sang it. And I was like, you could do that. And it was like, you could do anything with publishing. Some artists won't sing songs unless they have publishing because they're using their popularity, their voice, all this to make the song what it is. And I was like, that is fair. and that's where it was like that aspect of singing, because in rap it's totally different. So for instance, one of the big things that messed up part of my childhood was when I found out that Will Smith didn't write Summertime. And I was like, what? And it was like, nah, Rakim wrote it. And I was like, I thought Nas wrote it. And it was like, well, Rakim wrote this and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, yeah, Will Smith came out 30 years later and said, yeah, I was trying to sound like him, this and that. And I'm like, you didn't write your own rap. Singers, y'all could do that, but you ain't write your own rap, even though it was a very good song. I like it, one of my favorite songs. But it was like, no, Rakim wrote it because the hardcore Rakim fans wouldn't have accepted that song from him, but they would rather accept that song from Will Smith. And I was like, I get it, because if Rakim came out Summertime, and I'm like, and I'm a huge
hear it though. You say that, you can hear it though.
So that was something different. Okay. How do you feel about artists doing other ventures in business and making more money off of those ventures? For instance, like Rihanna, she hasn't released an album in over 10 years, I believe, and she became a billionaire. So what is your views on that, being a current artist?
Oh yes, I think it's delightful. I think it's very necessary for artists to try to build his brand up as big as he can, and have multiple streams of income.
Absolutely.
It's always healthy.
Okay, so are there things that you would like to do as far as besides just doing music, any other things that you would like to do as far as business is concerned?
Oh yes, I'm full of projects. I love projects, besides my book,
What's the name of the book again? What's the name of the book again?
It's
I wrote it down.
My Life and Fun Times with Con Funk Shun. By Danny Thomas.
Make sure you get the Amazon,
so
for sure.
Okay, and what else, and other things, because you were before I cut you off, so you had to say that you were about to elaborate on other ventures you would like to get into.
Ventures besides the book, is there something else that you would like to go into?
Well, kind of investing in the music business, invested in other artists, work in production, and maybe a screenplay at one time or something like that. Basically, focus in the promotion of the music business.
Now, listen, I don't know if you already got it done, but I tell people go to the Black Film Festival. I'm giving a shout out to Martha's Vineyard Film Festival. They have it every summer. Where the Black elites go. I'll be there. They go to pitch their
Black
idea.
Film Festival.
Correct, and they promote, and some people I've seen them start and just came out with like just a little small production of hip hop, and I saw them get picked up by Showtime, and now they have music in the 80s, and they're the people behind the stuff. I love my 90s. They went big and better, but I just want to know. I want to get a confirmation from you, Mr. Thomas, that if they picked up your book and become there, can I have a part? Because I think I could play you. Who the hell left the stuff out on my keyboard? Like, I know you came home and started cussing because the kids been like, hey, make up your bed. Daddy, you ain't never home. Yeah. Daddy, you ain't never home. And I can come in here. I'm making money for the family. I think I could play a good.
I can be the wife. I can be the wife.
All right. For sure.
All right, man. I'm making McLean a little jealous because how your morning was, baby, because Brother Thomas Smooth, he when older people in the church, they got a rich history. That's what I like to say. Look, see how I do it?
I like that.
Rich history. Good. That was good. That was good.
So
I'm good. And speaking to that, before we go on out, I know that you actually with your wife, Mrs. Wanda Thomas, I've seen you guys on some videos and stuff, and you guys do. Now, do you have a church or something going on? Do you have a church, or you guys do anything? Because I seen you were doing something like, Reverend Thomas or something like that.
Well, we belong to Tabernacle of Praise in Madonna, Georgia, headed up by Bishop T.J. McBride and his wife, Shanae McBride. And those are churches that we belong to, but we also
okay.
are involved in international ministry. We go to Africa, South Africa, Kenya, different spots, and yeah, and do ministry. We have a team that's been going out for over 10 years now. Doing that, trying to bring medicine as well as the gospel and help in any kind of way we can.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, you got anything else you want to tell our guests? Any words of wisdom for our fellow musicians or anybody in the band before we go? Anything you want to put out there to our KROSS BARZ family?
Always. Just have to believe in yourself. And I always say, if you don't like it, don't expect anybody else to like it. But if you love it, you better know that someone else is going to love it. So go for
it. Boy, I love it. All right. Well, Mr. Thomas, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence here on KROSS BARZ Podcast. You're not only just Con Funk Shun, you're a legacy, you're an icon in my eyes. You've had a lot, you gave us a lot of gems today. Just want to, just pray that you continually just keep doing what you do and all that great stuff and hold it down, man. Keep holding it down.
Thank you so much.
All
right.
You got it.
Go ahead. But I was
about to go on out.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead. I apologize.
KROSS BARZ and KROSS BARZ. You can find us on X and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, even on our website. Where can we find you on social media, Mr. Thomas? Anywhere?
I'm at DT Funk on Instagram, TikTok, Danny Thomas Music. My website is Danny Thomas Visual Member Con Funk Shun homepage, as well as Danny A. Thomas, my personal.
Okay.
Cool. And he on TikTok, so you keeping it moving. Yeah, he on TikTok.
Put the music
on then.
All
right, and we're out of here for tonight. Thank y'all for coming out. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.
Yeah.